There's no reason to be anxious about your Thanksgiving turkey. We got tips for moist turkey, flavorful turkey, even a lazy boy turkey. Check it out. Welcome to the Food 52 Test Kitchen. My name is Josh Cohen. I'm the Test Kitchen Director here. Food 52 community has written in with a number of questions about turkey. When it comes to turkey, we're going to boil it down to a few essential categories. The flavor of the turkey, how salty it is, the moisture of the turkey, the cooking time and temperature, and like logistics. Do you have space in your fridge to even brine it if you wanted to? People from the office are going to come and taste, and we'll see what they like best. The most famous sort of problem when it comes to turkey is that the white meat cooks at a different rate than the dark meat. If you're cooking the bird whole in the oven, by the time the white meat is perfectly done and nice and moist, oftentimes the dark meat is going to be a little bit under, it'll be a little bit raw. And then by the time the dark meat is fully cooked, the white meat is a little bit dry. There's an easy solution so that your entire turkey cooks evenly and at the same time. You can cut out the backbone and lay the turkey flat. That's called spatchcocking. I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay, so we'll start with a little like turkey 101. This is the breast. People usually talk about this as being like the top side of the turkey. If you're going to spatchcock your turkey, you're going to be dealing with the back side. If you're confused about how to start or where to begin, just imagine a line going straight down the back of the turkey. You're going to make one cut a little bit to one side of the spine and another cut a little bit to the other side of the spine, and you're just going to remove the entire backbone. I'm going to show you how now. If you feel like your knife is really sharp, you can cut straight down. There are bones, but your knife should be able to get through them. If you feel like that's too hard, use your kitchen shears. We've removed the entire backbone here. Sometimes as you're working, it can even be easier to snip it into pieces, which is what I ended up doing. Basically, however you need to get it done, get it done. It's not the prettiest thing. It's not always easy, but once the backbone is out, it's going to allow you to lay the entire turkey flat where there's going to be an even cooking. You could save this backbone and make stock out of it. It's a good piece for that. Once you've removed the backbone, you want to flip it back over again so that the breast of the turkey is facing up. You're going to start by taking the leg and the thigh, and you can kind of bring them so that they're flat facing outward. Now all the dark meat is laying flat in a single even layer. Next, you're going to sort of crack the breastbone. The breast lays evenly with the thighs. I'll show you. There. Now the breast is basically on an even plane as the dark meat. Now the advantage of spatchcocking the turkey is not just even cooking, but this can take up a little bit less space in your fridge. If you have sort of tight shelving, instead of a big round turkey going in your fridge, which is hard to find space for, you can put this on a rim baking sheet and slide it into a narrow space in the fridge. You save a lot of space. It's also easier to brine the turkey when it's this shape. Here, I'm going to flip this over. Is all this exposed meat where the brine is going to penetrate into it be more effective. Now, if you have a frozen turkey and you're thinking like, oh my God, I've run out of time, there's not enough time to defrost my turkey, what am I going to do? Submerge your turkey in cold water. You can change the water every hour or two. After a few hours, it should be thawed enough to work with. When it comes to flavor, we're going to offer 3 different paths toward a flavorful turkey. We're going to let the office decide which one they think tastes best. This might be a little bit scandalous, but hear me out. Option number 1, we're not going to do anything to the turkey. No salt, no nothing. We're literally going to just throw it in the oven and cook it. When it comes out of the oven, we're going to slice the meat, and that's when we're going to introduce the flavor. We're going to give it salt, a little bit of olive oil, and drizzle some of those pan drippings over the top. My theory is that it might just taste as good as one of these high maintenance turkeys, a wet brine or a dry brine. A true dry brine is going to take about 48 hours to happen in your fridge. It's sort of like a 2-step process. Step 1, you salt the turkey and the salt draws the moisture out of the turkey. Step 2, basically like a self-brine. The moisture drawn out of the turkey mixes with the salt and then it gets reabsorbed back into the turkey. It's like a wet brine, but it takes up less room and the flavor is more pure because there's no water involved. It's just the natural juices from the turkey itself and the salt. So, classic wet brine, 1 gallon of water, 10 ounces of salt. It's very important to weigh the salt. Some salt is very fine, some salt is bigger crystals. That's why we weigh the salt rather than relying on a cup measure. The main advantage to a wet brine is not even necessarily the flavor, it's the moisture content. It can act as a protection against overcooking your turkey. Let's say someone didn't brine their turkey at all, and there's a very thin window from where it's raw to where it's perfect to where it's overcooked. There's like a narrow band where the turkey is gonna be perfectly cooked. If you have used a wet brine on your turkey, it expands the amount of time where the turkey is gonna be moist coming out of the oven. It gives you a little bit of leeway, protection against overcooking the turkey. This turkey's been in the oven already for about 20 to 30 minutes. At that point, I take it out and I'm gonna brush the whole thing with a high heat neutral oil, like grapeseed oil or canola oil. The oil here is gonna help the skin brown more evenly and get extra crispy and nice. The reason I don't put the oil on right at the very beginning when the turkey goes in raw, at that point if you add the oil, the skin can like bubble up a little bit. But by giving it 20 or 30 minutes in the oven, the skin renders and tightens on the bird. And then at this point, adding the oil gives you a uniform, nice caramelization on the skin without those air bubbles. So before I slice the white meat, I need to take out the wishbone. The wishbone forms like a little V shape like this. If you try and cut the breast meat without taking the wishbone out, you're gonna bump into that wishbone and it's gonna prevent you from really slicing into the white meat. So what I do is I make like a little incision on one side, another little incision on the other side. You should be able to reach in and pull the wishbone out. The wishbone snapped while I was taking it out. This is actually like a teachable moment, as they say, or whatever. If you try to take the wishbone out and you only come away with part of it, it's important to find that other piece because the broken bone can actually be sharp. You can cut your finger on it. We spatchcocked 3 turkeys. One we did a wet brine, one we did a dry brine, one we did nothing. We cooked them, now it's time for the taste test. We got some friends from the office who are gonna come and taste with us. You wanna come on? Welcome to the test kitchen.
Thank you very much for having us.
Sure. Tell the world who you are.
I'm Casey, I'm an assistant buyer here.
And I'm Rebecca, and I'm account manager here.
So we're gonna go through, we're gonna taste these 3 turkeys. What you wanna keep in mind is like how moist is it? Is it dried out or is it like nice and juicy? And how flavorful is it? How salty is it or does it taste bland?
All right, great.
So we can just go for it, left to right. Do
Yeah.
you like turkey on
I love
Thanksgiving?
turkey.
Some people...
I love turkey all the time.
Yeah? All right.
Yeah, I'm definitely
Maybe
a
not all the
sliced
time,
turkey
but
kind
a
of
lot.
person. The
For me-
preferred sandwich meat for
Yeah,
me.
see, I like it next, like, day of Thanksgiving. I think I'm more like, I like the sides, and then I'll eat the turkey meat day after. like a
Days and
sandwich.
days after.
Yeah. All right, so
Great,
we
where
can
should we
just
start?
jump in. Go for it.
Okay, we'll be civilized.
I'd say it's not like bursting with juice. But it's not too dry either.
Yeah.
I'd say it's like somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Tastes like pure turkey.
Yeah.
This is like a good sort of baseline starting point.
There is a little, you can taste a little bit of salt in it, but I would definitely add a pinch
Yeah,
afterwards.
yeah.
I'm a salt eater.
It's a little salty, but it's not fully flavored for my taste. All right, next one.
All right.
So one of these has been brine in a wet brine. One of these has been dry brine, and one I didn't do anything to, but I seasoned it at the end.
This one's really good. Super juicy.
That,
Yeah.
and it's flavorful. I wouldn't even need a pinch of salt there.
Lot more flavor and more moisture.
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
want another one.
That's a clear,
Very, very
that's
difference.
a clear difference. Yeah.
Clear difference. All right, and final. Juicier than number 1, but I don't think it has that same
Yeah,
burst as the second one did.
not as salty.
Yeah.
Still would eat
Yeah.
a
yeah.
lot of it.
For juiciness, I'd go like most juicy,
Yeah.
sort of middle least.
Yes.
Agreed.
Okay, so should I reveal like what's
Yeah,
what?
what
Yes,
is
I'm so excited.
This one was a dry brine. Sort of came in a little bit of a dud here. I don't know, but it seems like the salt didn't like fully penetrate into
Right.
the meat. One thing they say about dry brines is you really should try and like get underneath the skin as much as you can and get salt in between the skin and the flesh, which to me is a little, like stressful because you don't want to rip the skin and it's hard to get your hand all the way in there.
Just not our guy.
Anyway, this was wet brine, which makes sense because that was really full of moisture. And what the wet brine does, it adds flavor, but it also definitely adds moisture. It's harder to overcook a wet brine turkey.
Right.
These were all pretty much cooked at the same time, like same temperature, same amount of time, and this one retained a lot of its juice. So the third one for me is sort of like the lazy boy bird. You take the turkey and you just throw it in the oven. And then when it comes out, after you slice it, you can give it salt. And I saved some of the like drippings from the pan and I drizzled that over the top. And I think it's good. Like,
Did you put any salt on it before cooking?
None.
It's truly out of the package and into the oven.
Yeah. And then after I sliced it, I salted it and I gave it some juice. For me, this goes to show that like people get really anxious about Thanksgiving. You can literally do nothing and your turkey will taste like fun, like good. Not even fine. That tastes good.
Yeah, that was number 2.
Yeah, exactly. So this tasted the best, I think, in our opinion,
Yeah.
but it also is the most work because you're making a wet brine, it takes up a ton of room in your fridge and you have to figure out a way to like submerge a whole turkey in your fridge for 24 hours. Do you have an opinion whether like save space in your fridge, save effort, and go with the lazy boy turkey, or would you go out of your way to really brine it and add that extra layer of moisture?
Totally worth it.
Yeah, I'd go out of it because I'd be eating this well after Thanksgiving.
All right, we got 2 committed brine folks. That's great. All right,
Thank you.
go take some turkey and
Delicious.
give it to the rest of the office. Yeah.
We'll eat it.
3 different turkeys, a dry brine, a wet brine, and a lazy boy. We tasted it. The wet brine, we really dig the moisture that came from that. The lazy boy turkey, I thought still had nice flavor. Each of these methods, you can take it and you could tweak it to make it work for you. If I did the dry brine one more time, I think I would add more salt to it. I think that would have helped definitely. The lazy boy turkey, I think you can also add salt beforehand to give it a little more flavor. The wet brine I really liked. I thought that came out great. When it comes to logistics of finding space in your fridge, when it comes to flavor, when it comes to moisture, you have options and, choose what works for you.